I'm John Beaudin. Here's part three of our interview with the great Gilbert O'Sullivan. This is Rock History Music. You know what? When Burton Cummings, I have to ask you this because I'm about to interview him, recorded Nothing Rhymed. I mean, by the way, because of my age at the time, I had not heard your version until I looked at the liner notes when we had liner notes, right? And I went, Gilbert O'Sullivan, oh my God, because I was very familiar with your work. Obviously not familiar enough because Nothing Rhymed was not a hit in Canada at that time. What did you think of his version?
I loved it. I know how it happened because we were doing a TV show, a very popular television show in England to promote that song. And Burton in the band, what were they called? The
Guess Who?
The Guess Who. And I know that he looked over when I was performing, when I was rehearsing. And I think that's where he picked up the idea of liking that song and wanted to record it. And his version is really nice and stuff. And yeah, I was thrilled with it.
The song itself, see, to me, I always had this, whenever I'm a 39-year-old broadcaster, we're always trying to tell stories. But when I first heard that song, his version, then immediately I went, oh, I missed out on that that first album. But I immediately thought of you as the guy who sits down and people watches. I'm going, this guy's deeper than most guys. I'm going, do you have that introspective kind of personality?
I think for example, on that song, what's interesting with that song, on English television, for the first time ever, we saw starving children on television. Biafra. It was Biafra. That nobody had seen starving children on television. So that all resonated with everybody. So that comes out in the song, seeing children on television. So I'm a good observer. Very often my songs are like a newspaper, John. You open it up, the first page is about one subject. The second page is something else. The common denominator might be the hook line at the end. And I kind of like that because you can subtly put in things without preaching. God forbid I should be preaching. So Nothing Rhymed is a bit like that. And somebody was mentioned the other day, said, if I give up the seat of and say, am I being a good boy? Am I your pride and joy? Mother, please, if you please say yeah. And if while in the course of my duty, I perform an unfortunate take. Well, to most people, what's that all about? And of course, in the musical world, you know what a take is. A take is when you record your vocal or you record your guitar and stuff. So so those kind of areas come into the song. And it was the first success for me in Europe, Australia, but not in America. It takes time in America and Canada too, but we got there eventually.
Well, isn't it interesting with things like, I know that streaming services don't exactly do what they're supposed to do for the artist, but I was noticing your numbers, especially with that song. I'm going, well, if it wasn't, it's certainly doing well now because people are reintroducing themselves to that song and a whole bunch of other ones.
Yeah, and we've just toured. We didn't get to Canada this time, but we expect to get to Canada in 2023. It goes down really well. People really like the song, so it's so that's nice. It's a nice comment from people.
What kind of a kid were you when you were growing up? Because I'm a lyric guy, so I'm always paying attention to your lyrics, and I'm again imagining. I'm going, what were you? Were you a sensitive kid? Were you an introspective kid?
Yeah, shy, introverted. I used to do all my writing in the garden shed in Swindon. So had a piano there. Bob Dylan and the Beatles were the biggest influence for me because the Beatles for songwriting, and Dylan for I kind of connected with Dylan because I didn't think I had a great voice, but I have a distinctive voice. So I kind of identified with him because if he could sing and be successful, then maybe there's a chance for me. And of course, his lyrics and stuff. So the influences were huge for me. And the lyric writing side of it it's interesting because when you sit down to write a melody, you play the piano for however long it takes till something comes into you. And if you get a melody, you can trunk it like Irving Berlin used to do. Trunk a good melody because a good melody will survive any length of time. But I never write a lyric until I know I'm going to record it. And then when you're going to write the lyric, you've got this melody. So what's it going to be about? You've got no idea. And so page 1 and page 2 are empty. Then you get to page 3 and it starts to come. And before you know it, it's the Leonard Cohen thing of writing more verses than you're ever going to need. You're on the 6th verse and you're battling with it. Somebody should be tapping on it and say, for Christ's sake, what are you doing the 6th verse for? You're not going to use it. Why do you sit there and that's one of the fascinating things about the process. What can I say? There's very few jobs that you do where the love of something takes on that kind of role.
You're the first person that's ever told me that. And like I'm going on 40 years, like I said, in broadcasting, and I've interviewed thousands of people. I've never heard someone say, well, I've got all these verses.
Well, apparently Leonard Cohen was the one that used to do it too. Because you have to say to yourself, why do you do that? Because you're putting in as much effort into that sixth verse and third middle eight than you're ever going to need. Why do you do it? It's because maybe it's because you start blank and then the ideas come and you just can't resist. You can't resist. And maybe it's like practicing your practicing your lyrical ability. Maybe it helps. Maybe it helps in that sense.
Yeah. Remember, if you want to see the whole video, the link is in the description of this video. It's right on our sister station, Rock History Book. Make sure you comment on our video, subscribe to our channel, and share our video. Also, like our videos. It makes a big difference. Buy a t-shirt. Links in the description where you can help our channel as well. I'm John Beaudin. This is Rock History Music.